Hello, welcome this amazing evening. We're happy that you are here in the Beacon of Light podcast tonight. Tonight, we have an awesome friend and writer, and her name is Kathy Studer. She has a 6-book series for everyone tonight, and this is going to be thrilling. So, before we start talking to her, we're going to jump into this. I'm April Tribe Juke. Welcome to the Beacon of Light podcast. I believe we are all made with light, and light is hope. This podcast brings authors who write stories of hope to all of you. Your journey to be inspired and amplified by these stories starts now. And we're back. You can see running on the ticker underneath this. This is Miss Kathy Studer, and her book series is called The Adventures of Gus and Pasha. So, Kathy, I'm just going to open it up here for you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you wrote this book series.
Well, thank you, April. It's an honor to be here. And the Adventures of Gus and Pasha were actually born as 6 book babies, and I'll call them grandchildren book babies, out of my first book, Broken and Beautifully Whole. So my first book shares that I am a survivor of long-term child sexual abuse. And in that book, I share my healing journey. And I shared 6 attributes I used in that journey to honestly help pull my broken pieces back together. And that came from, I'm a hairstylist by trade. I had a client who suffered from anxiety, depression, and PTSD. And one day in my chair, she shared her why, that she too was a survivor of child sexual abuse. And then I shared my story. And during our conversation, she asked me why I didn't suffer the mental health consequences to the degree that she did. And I couldn't answer her question. And when we were done, she looked me in the eye and she goes, "Girlfriend, you need to write a book." And I laughed it off that day. But in the months to come, I really reflected on that, and I introspected, and I prayed, and I did research. And in 8 to 9 months, I had the answer to her question, which then became the book Broken to Beautifully Whole. So fast forward, I was at a speaking engagement with my first book up in Northern Ohio. And a member in the audience who had read my book said, "Kathy, I think one of the most powerful parts of your book are your 6 attributes and how they helped you, your mental and your emotional health in your journey." She said, "With a mental health crisis with our children, why would you not take those 6 attributes and turn them into children's books?" I hadn't thought of that. And then that laid on me. And in that year, I just kept seeing the statistics and the rise, and with the anxiety and with the depression with our children. And it was going up before COVID. And then when we did COVID isolation, it just catapulted. And then I had a period of 2 months where we had found out about 3 teenagers, unfortunately, who had attempted suicide. And I really want the audience to hear this. There was a commonality with these 3. And I'm not saying this is all of them, but these 3 all were straight A students. And then I really thought about that for a minute. And I thought, you know what? We as a society, we do a really nice job of helping to support our kids academically. We teach them the ABCs. We teach them to count to 20, 50, 100. We teach them how to tie their shoes, how to ride a bike. We teach them math. We teach them science. And that all comes with extreme value. But do we teach them how to handle the hurts, how to handle the hardships, how to handle the emotional pains that will inevitably come our way for our children? And sadly, some will also encounter trauma. And then it really hit me light bulb or a brick that, oh my gosh, I have to do this. The brain is always malleable, always, always, but it's the most malleable when we are young. And why not? Why not start teaching these skill sets and attributes and helping our children adopt them when we're teaching them the ABCs, when we're teaching them to count to 20, to count to 50, and the compounding investment of what that brings. Like some people put money into a savings when their kids are born for college or whatever they're going to do after. Why? Because it's a compounding interest. Why not invest in our children with attributes that can help them, that come with a compounding interest as well, to handle the life challenges that will inevitably come their way? And that's how the adventures of Gus and Pasha came to be.
Wow. Sorry, had to get all that signed. Good job. Good job, Miss Kathy. It is powerful to think about the skill sets in those young minds right now to really teach that. I think as a society, they were probably taught that when we're at home, when parents were able to be more at home. Wasn't perfect. But the point was there was probably more of that teaching and the society to support that. And where we've got these laps and holes now, we do need to be very conscious and aware to teach these skills. And so with that, tell me about these 6 books and how they can impact a child's. Well, I'm going to back off on that. Tell me how the skill sets are taught within the books. So give me like an example.
Perfect. So we'll dive into book 1 just a little bit. So book 1 is Gus Finds His Smile, and it talks about a healthy perspective. And within that story, Gus has lost his smile, and he's sad and he's mad because things are not going well for him. And he just keeps focusing on everything that is wrong. And that's where all of us in life, quite frankly, can kind of fall into a negative perspective because we're focusing on what's bad. We're focusing on what's not going right for us. We're focusing on what we think can go wrong, more that can go wrong. And when we do that, we kind of start developing and falling into that negative perspective. Well, his friend Pasha helps him start to see the good. And she teaches him that even on our yucky days, all of us are going to have them. That's real life. But even on our yucky days, we can find something good, one small something good, something that makes us smile. So Pasha the panda helps Gus do that. And within that, he starts to find his smile. And what I also want to share is, so each of these books has a story, and the story is, it's fun, it's captivating, but it shares a value, it shares a purpose of each of the attributes. But in the back, so this is far more than a children's book. It's a tool. All the books are tools. Why? So each book has a section in the back for adults with the resource guide. And in that resource guide, I have a summary of key points. And then I've got activities and conversation starters. But wait, there's even more. There is another QR code that takes you to an extra free resource guide. And in that free resource guide, I go even deeper. Okay, so finding the good helps us have a healthier perspective, but why? What's the science? What's the research? Well, that extra resource guide shares that science. And here's the cool part. I have even more activities that parents can do at home, even if you're a homeschooler, or that teachers can do in the classroom. So these are activities that the kids can do to help them start to, first of all, have fun with the thought of that attribute of a healthy perspective, but it just kind of pulls it all together for them in a way that they can start adopting it in a fun way and they don't even know it, which is huge. So each book kind of does the same thing. So it shares a story. The animals go through, again, real life issues because all of us are going to have them. That's inevitable. But they kind of work through how can they find something good, or how could they work through this in a healthy way that helps them navigate the challenge and potentially even thrive through the challenge.
This whole concept with animals, do you have any animals that, are part of this? I think you might. So if you want to show those for all of those that will be watching here tonight, these are so sweet. Is there something that, go ahead, pull them up there. Let's see what our friends are. And this is going to be so exciting. Then I'll ask the question after you see these little guys.
It is. So I was so excited to do this. So the first two, Gus and Pasha, who the series is all about. So they're the two main lead characters. They are in every book of the 6-book series. And then we have Jada the Jaguar, the black jaguar. We have Bruna the bear. We have Ellie the elephant. And then we have Trudy the tiger. And here's why these toys, for me, with the books are so important. Can you get the books without the toys? Absolutely. You absolutely can. They are not necessary. Yet here's the value. When kids play with free time, they learn through play. Kids process through play, and kids release through play. And it takes, so this is the science behind this. So it takes us to, when we want to start creating a habit, a healthy habit, we have to do it at least a couple times a week. And it takes on average about close to a year to it's fully becoming a habit where it fully has reworked our brain. Here's the cool part. Through play, it can start happening in as little as 12 to 15 times. We're actually reworking the brain. So as the kids are playing and they're mimicking the characters in the book, they're mimicking what they're saying, they're mimicking what they're doing. Again, they're working their brain for a positive and they don't even know it. And let me expand on that. So when I say working their brain in a positive way, so in that free QR code, what I share with people is that what I learned when I did the research with my first book and how it helped me in a way that my mental health consequences weren't as severe as my friend was, these attributes produce what we call the happy hormones. And the happy hormones are dopamine and serotonin. And many people have probably heard that, but they're the neurotransmitters that help with happiness. They help reduce anxiety. They help reduce depression. And they also help lower cortisol. And so again, when kids are playing with these animals, they're helping create those happy hormones in a fun way. And that's why I wanted to have the animals to be a part of it. Again, not necessary, but just a fun way to just maybe add something, especially for a birthday or a holiday, or to help drive the value.
I think it's incredible. And I know what my kids are going to get very soon because the whole concept of play, and I'm so happy that you added the research within that. Isn't it? This is a side note. I think it's interesting that we had to do research about play and what the benefits were, because we just thought it was play. But really, you can see, I watch my own children. We call them stuffies. Their stuffies are their best friends. And it wasn't an intentional thing like, I'm going to get all these stuffies so that they will play. They just
Right.
gravitate towards that. And so if I can add a book and a stuffy together, at least in this little family, we're in. And so I can't tell you how many times my husband's going to be watching this. How many times he's had to step over all the stuffies because of the play. And it's kind of left right there. And they go right back to, I mean, they just pick up the story wherever they were. And it is a story. And I think through animals, stuffed animals, toys like that, we learn through a story. And it isn't like, today I will learn this attribute. No, it's just the play. But then you watch them apply what they've learned in their everyday life with their siblings, with their friends. And that's the science that gives the evidence to say, look, it works. So I'm going to put my teacher hat on. Thanks, mom hat. Teacher hat back. I work with teenagers, and many of them have special needs. So developmentally, we're kind of within that 8 to 11-year-old group. And these very things that you talk about, we express perspective, we express kindness, we express safety within your boundaries. Do you have a boundary? Those things you can say no, and it is okay. And it's interesting how much we need to teach these things. And so I'm going to get creative to figure out a way to add this into my high school teaching, because the attributes are for all, and the approach might have a little tweak, and that's fine. The concept that you have here, Kathy, is just awesome. It is amazing, and I am so thankful for things like this, because the safety of our kids, their ability to have this positivity within such a negative and focus drawn negative world, where they see leaders not, just trashing rules and laws, and you're thinking, how can I combat this? We have to set it within. And if you can do that within a family, within a homeschool, within a school classroom, those things are positive and will give more health and strength to the child, to the teenager, and through that, their adult life can become so much better. I just marvel at your strength within that mental health ability, because that one perspective of looking at things in a positive light is awesome. So can you give me the 6 attributes that these books will cover?
Absolutely. And then I want to come back to something that you said, and this is really cool. I want to share this. So the 6 attributes are, so book 1, Gus Finds a Smile, we talk about a healthy perspective. Book 2, Jada Stops Hiding, we talk about building resilience. Book 3, Bruno Catches His Fish, we talk about the value of having gratitude. And book 4, Ellie Stops Bullying Herself. We dive into self-compassion, which is so needed today in the world of comparison. And then book 5, Trudy Let's Go Over Anger. We talk about forgiveness. And I also say in here that forgiveness can never be forced with children, ever. So in that parent section, I really dive into a gentle way of giving kids grace and giving kids time, and let it process and guide them through that process. And then the last one, which ties all the books together piece by piece, is Pasha Finds the Special Ball. And this one is about hope. And it's so important, because if our children are struggling from anxiety or depression, they have reached a point where they feel hopeless. And if we can help guide them to slowly considering hope, looking at hope, finding hope, it's the antithesis. It's what pulls them all together, because the reality is perspective, resilience, gratitude, self-compassion, and forgiveness all tie to hope. And I want to go back to what you said, April, about your age group and of 8 to 11. So these books are primarily geared toward kids 4 to 9. But here's the cool part. So I have some middle school teachers that are going to be bringing these books in, and let me share why. So remember when I told everybody about the activities in the back? So the activities in the back, adults love these activities. Middle schoolers love these activities. High schoolers love these activities. It's an easier way to have fun and understand the concept. So I'm just going to share two of my favorite real quick that you could do with your kids, April. So in this book 2, where we talk about resilience, one of them is I have people get a tennis ball and a raw egg. And when we build our resilience, when we build that healthy growth, resilient mindset, we become more like the tennis ball. So when we go through hardships or challenges, meaning being dropped, what's going to happen? So ask the kids what's going to happen. You drop the tennis ball bounces back. So when we don't build our resilience, or we talk about when we have a negative perspective. So remember, book 1 was about a healthy perspective. So when we have a negative perspective and we keep focusing on what's bad, looking at what's bad, ruminating on what's bad, the science shares it tears down our resilience. So now we're more like the raw egg. What's going to happen if we drop the raw egg? It's going to go splat. So that's when we teach the kids the saying, let's learn to bounce back, not go splat. And kids love that. And again, even high schoolers. Another one real quick that middle school and high schoolers absolutely love is in book 5. I've got the exploding anger experiment. So we talk about how when we keep that anger and that resentment all build up inside of us and we stuff it down and we keep thinking about who made us mad, what made us mad, that anger can explode. So in that experiment, we use baking soda and vinegar and food coloring. Cheap, easy experiment to do at home again, or in the classroom. And then the kids get to see. So you compare it with vinegar and you compare it with water. Vinegar stinks. You can't drink a lot of vinegar, which is why holding on to a lot of anger is bad for us. Now, anger is a normal emotion. It's okay. All of us are going to get angry. All of us. That's okay. Again, normal life emotion. Yet, when we build it up, we build it up, we build it up, it can explode. And that's what happens with the vinegar. And the kids get to see that and they love that. And then we compare to water. When we let go of our anger, we become more like water. Can you drink 2 cups, 3 cups, 4 cups, 5 cups of water? Yes, it's healthy for us. So then we pour the water over the baking soda and then they get to see the difference of what happens with the vinegar and what happens with the water. And kids love that. And again, that's in the free guide.
Wow. Such great thing. I hope you guys took notes down there. Awesome. And this QR code, where can we get that?
It is within the book. So each book has their own QR code. So book 1 has a QR code that takes you to that resource, which is different from all the other books. And then book 2 has the QR code that takes you to the activities and extra resources for that book, and then so on and so on.
So you guys, this is a wealth of just, it's a wealth. I can't even say anything. This is awesome. This opportunity for us to help in a really streamlined way, reach, teach, allow the kids to play, get the visual, the experiment, that experiment rich opportunity. And I would just really encourage you, with summer here, kids going to be home, what an opportunity to find the time to teach this, and in a way that's normal and natural because within that setting, most children learn best. It sticks because questions that they have usually pop up. And now, as a resource, we have some more answers thanks to Kathy's books of Gus and Pasha. There are answers in lots of places, but look at someone who has taken all of the research, put it right here within a bundle, basically. And it's not because this is the only way, but what a supportive, fantastic, research-based way to help our kids, to help ourselves. So if the brain is really malleable at all ages of life, me in reading these can have an aha moment. Maybe I can help let go of something that was some vinegar that was hanging out for a minute. So the benefit would be for all, really. And as a teacher, we've been teaching kindness as of late. And within each little segment, it's 4 minutes. The impact of that, I will hear comments through the whole day. So I know things are working. So I'm excited to get my hands on these. And I know I have a few high schoolers that will look, I'll probably cry now. We'll look at that little elephant and be like, can I just hold this for a minute?
Absolutely. 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 Because all of us have that little kid deep down inside. We really do.
You have to keep talking.
Absolutely. So it's okay. I will. And thank you. I get that. And here's what I would add to that is here's the value within the books and here's how we build that compounding interest. So if you want to have a healthy body by exercising, if you only worked out once a month, would you be in great shape? No. And here's a way to say it to our kids, if they want to be that great soccer player or that great gymnast or basketball player or baseball, softball, volleyball, whatever it is, or karate, if they want to be really good, can they do it once a month and be really good? No, because it takes time. And we know that working out, exercising, if we do it 2, 3, 4 times a week, that comes with a big benefit. Our brain is a muscle, and our brain works in the same way. So if we can start adopting these skill sets and do them 2, 3, 4 times a week, we're going to develop that healthy, resilient growth mindset that, again, helps us navigate the challenges and potentially even thrive. So we got to work it out just like we do our body.
Thank you, Kathy. Beautifully said. So where do we get these books?
So you can order them on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Target, anywhere where books are sold. But now the animals you do have to get on my website, which is scrolling along the bottom at kathystuder.com. So if you go to my website, you go to Kathy Studer, it shows you how you can order the books. And if you would like 1 or 2 or a couple of the animals, let us know and we'll get those animals shipped out to you.
Wonderfully said. Well, thank you so much, Kathy. This value is immense. I hope you all take this summertime or soon to be summertime, to look at these books. Grandmas, grandpas out there, grab these books. You usually have the time to be with the kids. And so sit, chat, talk, get those normal, natural discussions, look at the activities beforehand, read through, and be ready, because we are that strength to help support these little ones as they continue to grow forward. And no one's too late. Don't
No
think,
one.
well, they're 18, they can't. I'm going to
Nope.
tell you, I was with my 20-year-old just a few hours ago. There's still influence that can happen.
Absolutely.
It's all true. Thank you so much again, Kathy. And that book series, the Adventures of Gus and Pasha, learning about the 6 attributes. Can you name those off one more time really fast?
Absolutely. Healthy perspective, resilience, gratitude, self compassion, forgiveness, and hope.
Well said. All right, everyone. You can see it put me in a state. It was very, very awesome. It was just emotional for me, and I appreciate it because the impact is really there. So, everyone go out, grab this book series. Kathy is amazing. Her light is a true hope, and that is why I'm so excited to have her as a beacon on the Beacon of Light podcast. And I hope that this light shares out to all. Thank you again, Kathy.
Now you're
Get
going to
her
be
first book,
right.
Broken to Beautifully Whole. Get this 6-book series because this light and hope is generationally changing. It has the potential of that. So I hope you go out and grab it. Thank you again, Kathy.
Oh, thank you, April, so much.
You're welcome. Bye.